Welcome back to our channel. In today's video, we're following a heartfelt and touching story between three generations, the elderly woman Lytudiem and Toan. After going through many ups and downs, Lytudiem and Toan have finally settled into a new life at Thu's farm, a place where they can truly start over. And today, the elderly woman makes a surprise visit, joining them for a family meal filled with love and connection. The meal is simple, but deeply meaningful. It's a moment where the bond between the elderly woman Lytudiem and Toan grows even stronger. With her sincere words and gentle encouragement, the elderly woman offers her blessings to the young couple. This story of family care and precious shared moments is sure to touch your heart. Will their relationship continue to grow stronger? How will they face the challenges of this new chapter in life? To find out, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel so you won't miss the upcoming episodes. Thank you so much for watching. The elderly woman unexpectedly came to visit Lytudiem and Toan on a quiet afternoon. Soft sunlight streamed through the window, casting gentle patterns across the wooden floor. Lytudiem was busy in the kitchen, preparing a meal for the two of them. She moved back and forth, occasionally glancing toward the front door, a sense of calm filling the house. Outside in the garden, Toan was taking care of a few small tasks, enjoying the open, peaceful space of the farm. Suddenly, a knock at the door broke the silence. Lytudiem paused, surprised, and looked toward the door. She walked over quickly, not yet seeing who it was, but feeling that something unexpected was waiting for her. When she opened the door, the elderly woman stood right in front of her with a gentle smile and warm, kind eyes. Lytudiem was a little surprised, but clearly happy. She stepped back and opened her arms, inviting the woman inside. The elderly woman smiled, holding a small bag in her hand, her expression soft and caring. Even at her age, her steps were steady and full of life. The elderly woman entered the house quietly, looked around for a moment, and then sat down on a chair. The atmosphere instantly felt warmer and more loving. Lytudiem returned to the kitchen to continue preparing the meal, while the elderly woman watched the two of them with eyes full of warmth and affection. They didn't need to say much, just being together was enough. Their conversation began with gentle words of encouragement and simple sharing about Lytudiem and Toan's new life on the farm. Lytudiem went back to the kitchen to prepare the dishes she had planned since the morning. The aroma from the hot soup pot and the rice cooker slowly spread throughout the house. Toan came in from the garden carrying a handful of fresh greens he had just picked. He noticed the elderly woman sitting there with a gentle expression and smiled as he greeted her. "Please make yourself comfortable, Grandma. The meal will be ready soon." Lytudiem set her eyes bright with happiness at the woman's visit. The elderly woman nodded and smiled at her, her eyes full of affection and warmth. "No need to rush," she said softly. "I'm happy just sitting here and listening to you two talk." Toan stepped into the kitchen and took the pan for frying spring rolls off the stove. Lytudiem was stir-frying vegetables and getting the soup ready. He placed the greens into a large basket and walked over to her. They exchanged a look, no words needed, yet they understood each other perfectly. Toan reached out to help wash and sort the vegetables, while Lytudiem began preparing the spring rolls, the elderly woman's favorite dish. "Can you get the chopsticks for me? I'll finish this dish," Lytudiem said gently. Toan nodded and went to get chopsticks and bowls for the elderly woman, a small gesture filled with care. As the meal was nearly ready, Toan returned to help Lytudiem arrange the dishes on the table. They worked together smoothly like a couple who had shared life for many years. They knew each other's rhythm and were always ready to help when needed. The elderly woman sat nearby, watching the two of them, her eyes filled with quiet happiness. The small house of Toan and Lytudiem felt warmer than ever as the aroma of home-cooked food filled the room. Lytudiem gently invited the elderly woman to sit at the dining table where the dishes had already been carefully prepared, simple, complete, and beautifully arranged. A pot of hot soup, soft white rice, golden crispy spring rolls, and a plate of bright green stir-fried vegetables. Every dish had been cooked with care and genuine affection for her. Though she was already old, the elderly woman's eyes lit up when she saw the meal. Feeling the care and attention from her two grandchildren, she smiled warmly. "Thank you, my dears," she said softly, her voice gentle but emotional. "It truly warms my heart to see how thoughtfully you take care of me." Toan and Lytudiem looked at each other and smiled. Toan stood up, poured her some water, then sat back down beside Lytudiem. For a moment, the three of them ate quietly, with only the soft clinking of bowls and chopsticks and the quiet sounds of enjoying a good meal. The room seemed to slow down, wrapped in the warmth of a family dinner. The elderly woman lifted her bowl of soup and tasted it slowly. "I'm really happy to see you two doing well and living happily like this," she said, her eyes shining. "I've been through many hardships in my life, but seeing you like this makes all my worries fade away." Lytudiem gently picked up a crispy spring roll and placed it into the elderly woman's bowl. "Please eat more, Grandma. Take care of your health. I'm so happy you're here eating with us." The elderly woman accepted it with grateful eyes. "Thank you. You two are so thoughtful. I truly don't know what else to say except thank you." She then picked up some vegetables. But instead of eating right away, she looked at Toan and Lytudiem and asked gently, "So, when are you planning to have the wedding?" Toan and Lytudiem exchanged a glance. Toan nodded, his eyes lighting up. "We've talked about it, Grandma. We plan to have the wedding soon. Just having you here to witness it would already make us very happy." The elderly woman smiled, her heart filled with warmth seeing them together. "I'm truly happy for you both. A wedding will be a beautiful beginning for your new life. I wish you two will always love and support each other just like you do now." Moved, Lytudiem gently placed her hand over the elderly woman's. "Thank you so much. We know you've always been by our side, caring for and guiding us. You're the most important person in our lives." They continued eating, but the atmosphere had changed. It was no longer just a meal. It had become a moment of sharing feelings, dreams, and hopes for the future. The story of the elderly woman, Lytudiem and Toan, wasn't just about food, but about precious moments they would carry with them for the rest of their lives. A family meal doesn't need to be fancy or filled with luxurious dishes. What matters most is the connection, the love, and the care they share. Every spoonful of rice every bite of spring, roll every gentle word carried sincere and deep emotion. As the meal came to an end, the elderly woman looked up her eyes, reflecting the warm light in the room. "I'm happy to see you both doing well. But don't forget about me. I'll always be here no matter where you go. No matter how life changes." Toan and lytudiem nodded their eyes full of gratitude. "We'll always remember you wherever we are. You'll always be the most important person in our lives." When the meal was finished, lytudiem stood up to help the elderly woman clear the dishes. Toan joined in as well, feeling a quiet sense of peace in his heart. He knew that no matter how life might change in the future, moments like this would remain unforgettable memories. The elderly woman, lytudiem, and Toan cleaned up together, and in that warm space, they felt a silent but deep connection. The meal was simple, yet full of meaning, a reflection of the love they shared. No matter what happens, they would always stand by one another because love and care are bonds that never break. After the dishes were cleared and the table wiped clean, the house settled into a gentle quiet. Outside, the sky had begun to darken, the last traces of daylight fading behind the trees that surrounded the farm. A cool breeze slipped in through the open window, carrying the scent of grass and soil from the fields. lytudiem brought out a pot of warm tea and placed it on the small wooden table in the living area. She poured 3 cups and gently slid one toward the elderly woman. Toan pulled his chair closer, so all 3 of them sat near one another, forming a small circle without realizing it. The elderly woman wrapped her hands around the cup, letting the warmth sink in. She took a slow sip, then looked around the room again at the simple furniture, the clean floors, the quiet comfort of the space. "This place feels peaceful," she said softly. "You've built a good life here." lytudiem smiled. "It's not perfect," she replied honestly, "but it feels right. Every day we try a little harder." Toan nodded. "Some days are tough," he added. "Work doesn't always go as planned. Crops fail. Money gets tight. But we face it together." The elderly woman listened carefully, her expression calm and thoughtful. "That's how life is," she said. "It's never smooth. What matters is not giving up on each other." She paused, then continued, her voice quieter now. "There were times in my life when I felt completely alone. Times when I didn't know who to turn to. Seeing you two like this, it gives me peace." lytudiem reached out and gently touched her hand. "You're not alone anymore," she said. "You never will be." The room fell silent again, but it wasn't an uncomfortable silence. It was the kind that felt safe, like no one needed to rush, explain, or fill the space with words. A soft sound came from outside, the chirping of insects beginning their nightly song. Somewhere in the distance, a dog barked once, then went quiet. After a while, the elderly woman spoke again. "Do you remember?" she said, smiling slightly, "when you were younger and always argued over small things?" lytudiem laughed softly. "We still do sometimes." Toan chuckled. "She's just nicer about it now." lytudiem gave him a playful look, and the elderly woman laughed along with them. The sound was gentle, warm, and full of affection. "That's good," the elderly woman said. "Arguments don't mean love is weak. They mean you care enough to stay." She looked at them both, her gaze steady. "Just remember, When things get hard, sit down and talk like this. Share a meal. Listen. That's how families survive. Lytudiem nodded slowly, taking the words to heart. Toan did the same. As the evening grew later, Toan stood up and stepped outside to check the gate and turn off the garden lights. The stars had begun to appear scattered across the sky. He stood there for a moment, breathing in the night air, feeling a sense of calm he hadn't known in a long time. When he came back inside, he found Lytudiem helping the elderly woman settle onto the couch, placing a folded blanket over her legs. "You don't have to rush back tonight," Lytudiem said gently. "You can stay here." The elderly woman hesitated for a moment, then smiled. "If it's not too much trouble." "Of course not," Toan said immediately. "This is your home too." That simple sentence seemed to touch her deeply. She nodded, blinking back emotion, and said nothing more. Later, as the house grew quiet, Lytudiem prepared a small room for her. Fresh sheets, a clean pillow, and a small lamp by the bed. Nothing fancy, just warm and welcoming. Before going to bed, the elderly woman paused at the doorway and looked back at them. "Thank you," she said again. "Not just for today, for everything." Lytudiem smiled. "We should be the ones thanking you." That night, after the lights were turned off and the house finally went still, Toan and Lytudiem lay awake for a while, listening to the sounds of the farm around them. "Do you feel it?" Toan asked quietly. "Feel what?" Lytudiem replied. "This," he said. "This peace. This family." She turned toward him in the darkness. "I do," she said softly, "and I don't want to lose it." He reached for her hand, holding it firmly. "We won't. Not if we protect it." Outside, the wind moved gently through the trees. Inside the small house, 3 generations rested under the same roof, connected not by grand gestures or promises, but by shared meals, quiet conversations, and the simple choice to care for one another. And in that moment, without anyone saying it out loud, they all understood something clearly. This was not just a dinner. It was the beginning of a future built on love, patience, and the strength of staying together no matter what lay ahead. The elderly woman nodded slowly, her eyes shining with quiet happiness as she listened to Lytudiem's words. She looked at their joined hands and smiled as if that simple gesture said everything she needed to know. She leaned back slightly in her chair and let out a soft breath. "Seeing you like this," she said, "makes me feel at ease. I worried for a long time about whether you would be safe, whether you would be loved, whether you would find a place that truly felt like home." Toan sat up straighter, his voice calm but sincere. "We know you worried, Grandma, and we want you to know something." He paused, choosing his words carefully. "No matter how busy life gets, no matter how far we go, we will never forget you." Lytudiem nodded in agreement. "We promise," she said gently. "We'll visit often. We'll call. We'll make time. You won't ever feel alone." The elderly woman listened without interrupting. She didn't rush to respond. Instead, she studied their faces, as if making sure these were not just kind words spoken in the moment, but promises meant to last. "Life changes people," she finally said. "Sometimes, not in bad ways, but in ways that pull them apart without them realizing it. I don't need you to promise perfection. I only need honesty." Toan met her gaze. "Then let me promise you this," he said, When we struggle, we won't hide it. When we're tired, we'll ask for help. And when we're happy, we'll share that happiness with you." The elderly woman's lips trembled slightly. She looked down for a moment, then reached out and placed her hand over both of theirs. Her hand was small and warm, steady despite her age. "That's all I could ever ask for," she said softly. The room grew quiet again, filled with a feeling that was hard to put into words. It wasn't excitement or celebration. It was something deeper: trust, acceptance, and a sense of belonging that didn't need to be proven. After a while, the elderly woman spoke again. "There's something else I want to say." She took a breath. "When you get married, when you build your family, remember that love isn't just about the good days." Lytudiem listened carefully. "Love is about staying," the elderly woman continued. "Staying when you're tired, staying when you're angry, staying when things don't look the way you hoped they would." Toan nodded slowly. "We understand. And if one day you argue," the elderly woman added, a faint smile appearing, "don't let pride win. Let kindness win." Lytudiem smiled through slightly teary eyes. "We promise to try. Every day." The elderly woman squeezed her hand gently. "That's enough." Outside, the night deepened. The wind brushed softly against the windows, and the distant sound of crickets filled the air. Inside, the three of them remained seated, reluctant to break the moment. Eventually, Toan stood up and brought over a small notebook he kept on the shelf. "We've been writing things down," he said. "Plans, goals, things we want to build together." The elderly woman raised an eyebrow. "Plans already." Lytudiem laughed softly. "Small ones." Toan opened the notebook and turned it so the elderly woman could see. There were simple notes about fixing the fence, planting new crops, saving money, and setting aside time for family. "This," Toan said, pointing to one line, "is our promise to you." The elderly woman leaned closer and read it quietly. "Visit Grandma every month. No excuses." Her eyes filled with tears. She quickly wiped them away, pretending to adjust her glasses. "You too," she said, her voice unsteady. "Don't make an old woman cry like this." Lytudiem hugged her gently. "Happy tears are allowed." The elderly woman laughed softly, resting her head against Lytudiem's shoulder for a moment. "I didn't raise you," she said quietly, "but watching you grow into this, it feels like I did." That night before going to bed, they all stood together near the doorway. The elderly woman looked at the house once more. The warm lights, the quiet space, the calm energy that filled it. "Promise me one last thing," she said. "Yes," Toan replied immediately. "When life becomes noisy," she said, "come back to moments like this. A meal, a conversation, a shared silence." Lytudiem nodded. "We promise." Satisfied, the elderly woman smiled and slowly walked toward her room. Later, as Toan and Lytudiem lay in bed, the house silent once again, Lytudiem turned toward him. "Do you feel different?" she asked. He thought for a moment. "Yes," he said. "Like we're not just living for ourselves anymore." She smiled. "That's what family is." He reached for her hand. "And that's what we promised." In the quiet of the night, those promises settled into something solid, not written on paper, not spoken loudly, but carried in their actions and their hearts. No matter what the future held, They knew one thing for certain: they would walk forward together, guided by love, strengthened by responsibility, and anchored by the quiet promises made around a simple family table. And somewhere in the next room, the elderly woman slept peacefully, knowing her faith in them had not been misplaced.